Mistake number 3, don't respond to your family based on how your business is doing. Don't respond to your family based on how your business is doing. Okay, picture this. You just crushed a major deal. Huge customer you've been chasing now increase their order. It's the biggest order you've ever had. You're flying high. You go home to your family. Let's go out to dinner tonight. Let's plan a trip. Let's do this. And it's attaboys, high fives, and the family's like, oh my gosh, dad or mom must have had a really great day and closed a big deal, okay? On the other side of that, when business is down and their economy is punching you in the gut and the recession is like a punch to the chin, and you see mom or dad wearing that all over them, and now they come home and say, we're not going to spend a dime. You can't go out. We're going to make our food for the next 3 months. We're not going to have any fun. If you look like you're smiling, then you're going to your room. You're losing your phone. You see, that type of yo-yo relationship is no way to run your small business. It's not good for you mentally to dictate, I feel today based on how my business is doing today. That is just not right. I'll tell you a quick example. A couple I worked with many years ago, she would tell me when the couple came in the office that one of the things that bothered her about her husband is every morning he would go upstairs to his office in his house and check his account balances. And based on whether the arrow was green or the arrow was red, if the accounts were higher or lower, when he came down the stairs, that determined his mood toward her. She got sick and tired of that. And finally she said to him in our meeting, she said, honey, remember, if you go upstairs again, I will not be here when you come back down. That was the wake-up call for him to realize he was letting his emotions and his outlook on the day be dictated by something he couldn't control. So here's the alternative. I don't want to give you a problem and a fatal mistake without a solution. So the solution is you can still talk about the challenges you're experiencing, but bring your family and your friends and those trusted people into the discussion and say, you know what, here's something I'm struggling with right now. I want to get your feedback on this and tell you what's happening. Well, by doing that, now you're removing yourself from the whirlwind of the problem and you're pulling back and observing the whirlwind. You see the difference there? As a small business owner, listen, you and I can get caught up in so many fires. It feels like we're part of the volunteer fire department in our local town. And we can't have that. I need you and your brain to be focused on how you solve your customers' problems, how you can best serve them, how you can keep them as the king and the queen in their universe. Because you know what? Somebody else wants to. And if you don't, they're happy to pick them up and provide them the royal treatment that they're missing from you. All right, mistake number 4 is being a generalist and not a specialist. Being a generalist and not a specialist. I got to tell you, this one mistake is costing you thousands, if not tens, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And here's why. So many service providers that work with people one-on-one and their team want to be everything to everyone. Here's the fatal flaw in that. When you're everything to everyone, you're actually nothing to most people because you're spread too thin, and as the expression goes, you're a mile wide and an inch deep. Let me give you a medical analogy to illustrate this. Let's say that you had a serious medical issue. I wouldn't wish this on you, but as an example, let's say it was with your heart. Would you first think of going to your general practitioner doctor, the doctor that diagnoses everything from the cold to a sprain in your ankle to a sinus infection? Or would you want to go to a heart specialist? And not just a heart specialist, but someone who was highly recommended, highly favored, highly referred to as this is the go-to woman or man that you need to go to with any type of heart issue, you would go to that person. And let me ask you this. Would you automatically think, well, that person probably has more education, more experience, more knowledge. They're an expert in working with hearts. And so you would go there thinking, boy, I'm probably going to pay more to work with this expert specialist because it's my heart after all. In business, we miss that. I missed that early on. And once I made that transition from generalist to specialist, my business transformed and my revenue skyrocketed. And here's what happened. What I began to describe to people as they come into my office, I had a financial planning practice, but this principle can be used by any service provider. If you're a CPA, attorney, dentist, doctor, accountant, realtor, coffee shop owner, any small business owner can use this principle. And that is, you want to let people know that I know you can choose from anybody to buy this product or service from, but we specialize in, and then you name the specialty. And even with your hands, you describe a pie. You know, there's a lot of advisors in town, but our slice of the pie is this. For me, it was always called retirement income planning. So people 5 to 10 years from retirement, getting close to retirement, we specialize in that area. Well, what that did is it let us focus on that area all the time. And so what happened is we got really, really good at it. So much so we become a nationally sought after financial planning practice for that area. People all over the country wanted to work with us. But that principle applies to you as a small business owner in your local area right now. If you want to say, well, I'm a dentist, well, great. You know, I'm a dentist that specializes in, and then you name, here's the specialty that we have. I'm a doctor that specializes in. I'm a consultant that specializes in. I'm an engineer that specializes in. All those things differentiate you. And so here's the magic. And this is kind of funny, actually, but I discovered over many years, even if someone doesn't need your specialty, they still want to work with a specialist over a generalist because they feel like they're getting more value. And keep in mind, you want to price yourself so the value appears real. You know, for example, if I say something costs $99 versus, you know, this program is $999, well, first, the $999 captures my attention more, but I automatically assume, well, there must be more value with that. So don't price your customer out, but you want to price yourself and your value appropriately. Because specialists, I find, I used to always joke, no fee, no me. And I want you to have that same mentality. I want each of you as a small business owner to be paid what you're worth. But it first starts here, recognizing your value, and then clearly articulating your value, and then delivering that value. Be a specialist and not a generalist. And then mistake number 5, making the business just about making money. Making the business just about making money. Listen, I wrote a book on it, for goodness sakes, Good Money Revolution, How to Make More Money to Do More Good. I like money, and I'm not embarrassed to admit it, okay? Money to me is a game. But here's the game I learned is the way to win. It used to be I just wanted to make a lot of money to pad my bank account and build this big investment portfolio. But that led me to momentary highs, but not lasting meaning and fulfillment. Until I discovered one day that what my passion was to give back to local education, to support and recognize local teachers and student leaders and invest in the lives of young people. When I began to do that, then it gave me a cause, a passion of why I wanted to go make a lot of money. It was to serve and add value to a lot of customers. So I'm improving my customers and clients' lives. I'm improving my team's lives, but now it gives me more money to help improve other people's lives, the young people's lives and the teachers in my local community that I wanted to benefit. Here's what research tells us, and you're going to be shocked by this. They tell us that when you make $75,000, that's typically the high point of the satisfaction you'll get in making money. So you might think that, boy, if I win the lottery, and I've worked with many lottery winners, Or if I have, $1 million or more, I'll be happier. You'll be happier momentarily, but not long term. 75,000 is what they call that income satiation point, where it doesn't get any better than that. But what I want to tell you is the way to be happier, making more money, is to be giving more money. I talk to business owners all over the country and they tell me, Derek, I like making money, but I'm not as motivated. I'm not as excited anymore to do that. And let me tell you a quick story. A gentleman named Dave came into my office a couple years ago, and I could tell. You know those relationships you have where something is off, something is really bothering the person? And so I just came out and said, Dave, I can tell something is bothering you. What's wrong? Well, he begins to tell me about the small business he has locally here, that he's no longer motivated, no longer has that drive every morning to wake up and go to his office. And his kids work there, his family work there. This was the ideal situation, but he lost his motivation. And I asked him a question that pierced him right between the eyes. I said, Dave, is there a cause that you care deeply about? And I could tell the question stunned him. He sat back in his chair, paused for a moment, and he began to tell me a story. He said, Derek, a couple years ago, my family and I went on a trip overseas, and a village that the guide took them to made a point to talk about the poverty in this specific area. And the cause of it was lack of education for the children there. There was no dedicated school building to educate the kids. And because tens and tens of years had gone by, this entire generation, this population there, was so poor they couldn't get out of it. And he remembered exchanging that glance with his wife as if to say, wouldn't it be cool to fund that school? And I said, Dave, what if you did this? Listening to his comment about the school. What if you set a sales goal over the next 6 months and you took half of that sales increase and gave that to that school? Well, his eyes got as big as saucers, and we began to brainstorm how we could do it, how we could implement it, what he would say, what he would do. So he leaves the office. He didn't come back 6 months later. He came back in 3 months later. He looked younger. He looked more rejuvenated. He looked relaxed. He looked like he was back on his A game. I said, Dave, last time I saw you compared to where you are today, what happened? It's night and day. He goes on to tell me, he says, Derek, at first I was a little bit skeptical about what you said, but I had nothing to lose, and I took what you said and put it into practice. And he said it worked, and it worked really well. And I said, Dave, tell me the story. He said, well, I talked about the school with you and how we wanted to build that school. I went back and began to communicate with all of our customers by email and told our team about it, that we're setting an aggressive sales goal and half of our increase is going to go to fund that school. Well, my clients, I wasn't expecting this, Dave said, but they got excited about it. And what they said was, hey, we like working with you, Dave, and you provide a great service for us, but this makes us even more excited to feel like we're part of something bigger. You see, Dave brought them into a story associated with his product and service that if they bought from Dave, they're helping make the world better. And what happened was those clients referred more business to Dave. The team got excited. They began to refer people in. And then Dave felt just super motivated and re-engaged to be back in the business. Not because he just wanted to make a lot of money for money's sake. Now he was making money to make a difference in people's lives. You see, that changed everything. I call that the generosity purpose. And I believe a fatal mistake is if you're a business owner right now that just simply wants to make money, you are burning your candle at both ends. And eventually, that candle, those ends meet and you burn out. If you want to relight that candle, refire your passion, find a cause that you are passionate about, not just the $10 you give here, $20 here, but a passion that you can tie your business to that will drive you to go make more money to do more good. Well, I'm going to stop there. There's 10 fatal mistakes business owners make. These are the first 5. Join me soon. I'll share the next 5 with you. Listen, don't make these first fatal 5. Your business and you as a business owner, we need you. These mistakes will hold you back. They'll hold you back from solving the precious problems that customers need you to solve for them right now. I want you to be successful, and I want you to achieve that success in a fraction of the time it took me. I'm here to help.